This video is a demo of a use case scenario for the DEVS web environment. My name is Bruno Saint-Aubin at the Advanced Real-Time Simulation Laboratory at Carleton University, Ottawa, Canada. DEVS stands for Discrete Event System Specification. It is a formal simulation methodology that provides a mechanism to build hierarchic and modular simulation models. The DEVS web environment consists of a series of service-based workflows for modeling, simulation, and dissemination of DEVS geospatial simulation models. It is composed of four major components. First, a front-end framework to build simulation-based web applications. Second, a simulation service that allows users to execute simulations remotely. It relies on Cambium, a DEVS simulator built at the Advanced Real-Time Simulation Laboratory at Carleton University. The simulator is interchangeable. It would be possible to use another if needed. The third component is a workflow service that allows users to create and publish workflows that assemble simulation models from real-world data. Workflows are interchangeable according to the business needs of the application. In this demo, the workflow consists of a series of spatial analysis tasks that map simulation models onto real-world geographic information system data. The fourth component is a library of models, experiments, and visualizations that provide discovery and documentation features to the environment. The environment provides a flexible basis upon which simulation-based applications can be developed and tailored to the requirements of various business domains. Before I proceed with the demo, here is an overview of the model it uses. The model used is an emergency management model at the municipal level. In this model, geographic areas generate emergencies at regular intervals. The number of emergencies depends on the population counts. Hospitals receive emergencies and attempt to process them at a certain rate. If hospitals have sufficient capacity, they process the emergencies. Otherwise, they reject them. When rejected, the area will send it to the next closest hospital. It will try this 3 times, after which it will consider the emergency response a failure. Many geospatial data sources are involved in this, and I will describe them when I discuss the model composition workflow. It should be noted that this is a toy model. It is not representative of reality. It was built to showcase the environment and to prototype it. When users access the emergency management simulation application, they are presented with an interactive map that allows them to define simulation experiments. The first step is for them to select a geographic area that will become the simulation area. Here I'm navigating to my simulation area. They can then define the experiment parameters for each hospitals. To do so, they must click on hospitals and modify their capacity and processing rate. Here I am defining an experiment that will generate interesting results. The default values that you see were randomly generated for the purposes of this demo. Subject matter expertise in the field of healthcare would be required to determine the values that actually reflect reality. This prototype only allows the definition of capacities and rates for hospitals. It would be possible to provide richer experiment definition. For example, it would be possible to allow users to move hospitals, create new ones, or remove existing ones, and simulate the resulting geographic configuration. Once the experiment is defined, users must click on the Simulate button to remotely launch the simulation process. At this point, the server receives the experiment definition, feeds it to the workflow, which will compose a model from the geospatial data and experiment definition, then simulate it. The process requires some time, so I will explain the model composition workflow in more details. This is the workflow used to map simulation models onto real-world geospatial data for this demo. The first step is to extract census subdivisions that were selected by the user when they clicked on the map. A census subdivision is the general term for municipalities or areas treated as municipal equivalents for statistics. Once extracted, the CSDs are dissolved or merged into a single polygon that becomes the simulation area. The simulation area is used to extract the relevant portion of the National Road Network. The National Road Network is a digital representation of Canada's road network. It contains information such as street names, types, directions, and address ranges. The extracted road network is then reprojected to the appropriate cartographic projection used by the web application. The next step is to extract the healthcare facilities contained within the simulation area. To this end, we use the Open Database of Healthcare Facilities. The ODHF is a listing of health facilities across Canada. It classifies facilities into one of three types: ambulatory healthcare services, hospitals, and nursing and residential care facilities. We then overwrite the initial capacities and rates of the facilities with the user-provided experiment parameters. The facilities are also reprojected to the cartographic projection of the web application. Hospital simulation models are then mapped onto the resulting geospatial dataset. The next step involves extracting dissemination areas contained within the simulation area. A dissemination area is a small, relatively stable geographic unit composed of one or more adjacent dissemination blocks. It is the smallest standard geographic area for which all census data are disseminated. DAs cover all the territory of Canada, and their population counts are approximately 400 to 700 people. The dissemination areas are then also projected and joined to the population count from the Census of Population conducted by Statistics Canada in 2016. Emergency area type models are then mapped onto the resulting dataset. The final step involves computing an origin-destination matrix between the dissemination areas and the hospitals. An origin-destination matrix is a computation of the driving distances between all the permutations of origins and destinations provided. It is a computationally intensive operation. To simplify, we use centroids from the dissemination area. The origin-destination matrix allows us to identify the three closest hospitals for each emergency area and establish relationships between our models. The simulation should be complete now, so we'll return to the application. As you can see, the user is presented with a link to their results. Clicking on the link opens the visualization in a new window. Once the visualization is open, clicking on the playback button at the bottom will animate the simulation. So I will first navigate to my simulation area, zoom in, and then click the playback button. As time progresses, areas become darker red, indicating that dissemination areas are recording an increase in failures to process emergencies. Clicking on an individual dissemination area allows users to inspect the state of the model at the current time step. We can see in this case that this particular emergency area has recorded 110 failures in processing emergencies. Similarly, users can click on hospitals and inspect their state at the current time step. We can see that this specific hospital has a total of 90 active cases. It has processed 15,000 cases approximately. It has released 750 cases and rejected 14,425 cases. Other variables output by the simulation models can be shown on the map by selecting them. For example, the number of cases rejected by hospitals can be shown, or the number of released cases can also be shown. This web application was specifically built using the environment's front-end framework to disseminate the results of this model. Other applications could be designed according to business needs. The next step in this research is to conduct a feasibility evaluation of the environment with a federal government partner. The goal is to evaluate the efforts required to make it operational. To this end, a small team will implement an updated version of the environment and determine whether the DEVS environment is able to support multidisciplinary simulation studies and is usable by participants with varied skill sets. A group of economy subject matter experts will provide the basis upon which to build relevant simulation models to be used in the environment. Thank you for listening.